Monica had spent months planning her dream wedding. As an African-American woman, she knew that finding the perfect venue would be challenging, but she was determined to make her big day everything she had always imagined. After searching online and visiting several locations, she finally found a stunning venue that seemed to have it all. A beautiful garden for the ceremony, a spacious ballroom for the reception, and a reputation for hosting elegant events. Excited, Monica scheduled a visit to the venue, bringing along her fiancé, Jacob, and her best friend, Tasha. As they arrived, Monica's heart raced with anticipation. The venue was even more beautiful in person. Lush greenery, immaculate grounds, and a grand entrance that made her feel like she was stepping into a fairy tale. She could already picture herself walking down the aisle, surrounded by family and friends. They were greeted by the venue's event coordinator, Mrs. Harper, a well-dressed woman with a polished smile. At first, everything seemed perfect. Mrs. Harper led them on a tour, highlighting the venue's features and explaining the different packages available. Monica listened attentively, asking questions and taking mental notes. But as the tour progressed, she began to notice subtle changes in Mrs. Harper's demeanor. The warm smile became more strained, and her tone became increasingly curt. When they sat down to discuss the details, Mrs. Harper's questions took on a different tone. She asked if Monica and Jacob were sure they could afford the venue, despite them already indicating their budget earlier. She made veiled comments about the venue being in high demand, and suggested they might want to consider a smaller, more appropriate location. Monica's excitement began to fade, replaced by a sinking feeling in her chest. She had heard stories about this kind of treatment, but she never expected to experience it firsthand. As they left the venue, Monica's initial joy was overshadowed by disappointment and anger. Tasha, who had also picked up on the discrimination, tried to comfort her, but Monica was too disheartened to respond. All she had wanted was to find a beautiful place to celebrate her love, but instead, she felt humiliated and rejected. That night, Monica couldn't sleep. The experience at the venue kept replaying in her mind, but so did something else, a determination not to let this setback define her wedding or her happiness. She knew she had to do something, but what? As she lay awake, an idea began to form. She realized that this wasn't just about her wedding, it was about standing up against discrimination, and she was ready to take action. After the initial shock of the rejection, Monica takes a moment to gather herself. This was supposed to be one of the happiest times of her life, and now she's faced with blatant discrimination. She decides that the issue can't be ignored. Determined to handle the situation calmly and rationally, she contacts the management of the wedding venue. She believes that perhaps there's been a misunderstanding or that a reasonable explanation exists. As she dials the number, her heart races, but she steels herself, ready to confront whatever comes next. When she finally gets through to the venue's management, she calmly explains the situation, recounting how she was denied the opportunity to book the venue for her wedding. However, instead of the understanding response she had hoped for, she is met with cold indifference. The manager on the other end of the line dismisses her concerns, claiming that the venue has the right to choose its clients, and subtly hints that they prefer to maintain a certain standard that aligns with their brand. The coded language only adds to her frustration and hurt. Realizing that this isn't just a simple misunderstanding but a deliberate act of discrimination, Monica feels a surge of anger. However, beneath that anger is a deep sadness. This is not just about a wedding venue anymore, but about her dignity and the ongoing fight for equality. She knows that if she lets this slide, she would be condoning the very behavior that people have fought against for generations. As she hangs up the phone, she sits in silence for a few moments, letting the weight of the situation sink in. She looks at the wedding magazines scattered on her coffee table and the bridal gown hanging in her closet. This was supposed to be a joyous time, but now it's tainted by the harsh reality of discrimination. But instead of letting it crush her, she feels a spark of determination ignite within her. She knows she cannot let this injustice stand, not just for herself, but for every other person who might face the same situation. From that moment, she begins to strategize. She researches her legal options, reads about similar cases, and reaches out to civil rights organizations. The more she learns, the more resolute she becomes. This isn't just her fight anymore. It's a fight for all those who have been wronged in silence. And she vows to make sure that this wedding venue, and others like it, are held accountable. Realizing that she can't take on this battle alone, Monica begins reaching out to her community, friends, and even strangers who might have faced similar discrimination. She posts her story on social media, detailing the rejection she faced at the wedding venue and how she felt humiliated by their actions. Her post quickly gains traction, resonating with people from all walks of life. Many share their own experiences of discrimination, creating a sense of unity and shared purpose. Support pours in from unexpected places. Civil rights groups and influential figures in her community reach out, offering their assistance. Some suggest organizing a peaceful protest at the venue, while others advise her on legal action. She's overwhelmed by the outpouring of solidarity, but also empowered. What started as her personal struggle is now turning into a larger movement against discrimination. Amid the support, she also faces backlash. Some people accuse her of overreacting or seeking attention. Others try to downplay the incident, suggesting that she should simply find another venue and move on. But these comments only strengthen her resolve. She knows that what happened to her is part of a much larger issue, and she's determined to keep fighting, not just for her wedding but for equality and justice. She meets with community leaders, legal advisors, and activists to discuss the next steps. Together, they decide to hold a press conference to draw more attention to the issue and to announce that she will be taking legal action against the venue. The goal is not just to seek justice for herself, but to set a precedent that will discourage other businesses from engaging in discriminatory practices. The day of the press conference arrives, and she stands before a crowd of supporters and media, feeling a mix of nerves and determination. As she begins to speak, her voice is strong and clear. She shares her story, not just as a victim of discrimination, but as someone who is ready to fight for change. She makes it clear that this is about more than just a wedding venue. It's about standing up against injustice and ensuring that everyone is treated with dignity and respect. As the press conference concludes, she feels a sense of empowerment. The battle is far from over, but she knows that she has the strength and support to see it through. And with the spotlight now on the venue's discriminatory practices, the owners are forced to confront the consequences of their actions. Following the press conference, the story starts to gain significant attention from local and national media outlets. Reporters cover the event, sharing Monica's story across various platforms. The headline, "Black Woman Discriminated at Wedding Venue Fights Back," appears on news sites and social media feeds, sparking widespread discussions about racism and discrimination in the wedding industry. With the help of the legal advisors and civil rights groups who reached out earlier, Monica decides to take legal action against the wedding venue. She files a lawsuit, accusing the venue of racial discrimination and seeking both compensation and a formal apology. The lawsuit also demands that the venue implements anti-discrimination policies and staff training to prevent similar incidents in the future. The media coverage intensifies as the lawsuit moves forward. Journalists begin to dig into the venue's past, uncovering other complaints of discriminatory practices that had been ignored or swept under the rug. This revelation adds fuel to the fire, and more people come forward with their own stories of mistreatment by the venue. The public outrage grows, and the pressure on the venue's owners increases. Monica, though initially hesitant about being in the public eye, embraces her role as an advocate for change. She participates in interviews, speaking passionately about the need for accountability and equal treatment. Her story becomes a rallying cry for others who have faced discrimination, inspiring them to speak out as well. The venue owners, facing mounting legal and public pressure, try to defend themselves by claiming that the incident was a misunderstanding. However, their attempts to deflect blame only make matters worse. The public sees through their excuses, and the backlash continues to grow. The case starts to attract the attention of prominent figures and organizations dedicated to fighting discrimination. Legal experts weigh in on the potential impact of the lawsuit, suggesting that a victory could set a powerful precedent for future cases. Monica's fight is no longer just about her wedding. It has become a symbol of the broader struggle for civil rights and justice. As the lawsuit progresses, Monica remains determined to see it through. She knows that this legal battle is not just for herself, but for everyone who has been wronged by discriminatory practices. The media continues to cover her story, and public support remains strong. People are watching closely, waiting to see what the outcome will be. As the lawsuit gains traction and the media continues to cover the story, the backlash against the wedding venue becomes even more intense. Customers start canceling their bookings, and vendors begin severing ties with the establishment. The venue's reputation takes a severe hit, and their once thriving business begins to crumble under the weight of public scrutiny. However, the backlash doesn't stop at just the venue. Monica herself starts to experience a mixed response from the public. While many people rally behind her, praising her courage and determination, there are also those who criticize her for overreacting or playing the race card. She faces a wave of online harassment, with some people sending hateful messages and attempting to discredit her story. Despite the negativity, Monica remains steadfast. She focuses on the overwhelming support she receives from her community and beyond. Messages of encouragement pour in from people who have faced similar struggles, thanking her for standing up and speaking out. Civil rights organizations continue to back her, offering legal and emotional support as she navigates the challenges ahead. Recognizing the importance of the moment, Monica decides to use her platform to create something positive out of the situation. She begins organizing community events focused on raising awareness about discrimination and promoting diversity and inclusion. These events draw large crowds, and Monica becomes a respected voice in the fight against systemic racism. At one of these events, a prominent civil rights leader takes the stage to publicly commend Monica for her bravery. He highlights how her actions have brought attention to a critical issue and inspired others to take a stand. Monica is presented with an award for her contributions to the cause, a moment that brings tears to her eyes. The support she receives from the community, both locally and nationally, helps her to push through the difficult times. She realizes that her fight is bigger than just her wedding day. It's about making a lasting change. Monica's resolve strengthens as she continues to lead the charge, knowing that her actions are helping to pave the way for a more just and equitable future. The wedding venue, on the other hand, finds itself increasingly isolated. With their reputation in tatters and their business dwindling, the owners are forced to confront the consequences of their actions. The public pressure intensifies, and they begin to reconsider their stance as the lawsuit looms large on the horizon. As the date for the court case approaches, tension mounts on both sides. Monica and her legal team prepare meticulously, gathering all necessary evidence, witness testimonies, and expert opinions to strengthen their case. The venue owners, now fully aware of the gravity of the situation, hire a high-profile legal team to defend themselves. They claim that the incident was a misunderstanding and deny any allegations of discrimination. The courtroom becomes a battleground of ideals, where Monica's fight for justice is pitted against the venue's attempt to salvage their reputation. The media coverage intensifies, with news outlets closely following every development. Reporters are stationed outside the courthouse daily, eager to capture every twist and turn of the trial. During the proceedings, Monica's attorney presents a compelling case. They highlight the clear evidence of discriminatory practices, bringing forward employees who testify about the venue's long-standing history of biased treatment towards people of color. Monica herself takes the stand, recounting her experience in a powerful and emotional testimony that leaves a profound impact on everyone in the courtroom. The defense attempts to counter these claims, arguing that the venue's actions were not racially motivated and that the denial was based on legitimate business concerns. However, their arguments fail to resonate as strongly as Monica's heartfelt testimony. The public support for Monica continues to grow, with people rallying outside the courthouse holding signs and chanting for justice. As the trial progresses, it becomes clear that the case is about more than just one incident. It's about challenging systemic racism and holding businesses accountable for discriminatory practices. Monica's fight is seen as part of a larger movement pushing for equality and justice, and the outcome of the trial is anticipated by many as a significant step in this ongoing struggle. Finally, after weeks of intense legal battles, the trial comes to a close. The jury deliberates, and the courtroom is filled with palpable tension as everyone awaits the verdict. The outcome of the case will have far-reaching implications, not just for Monica and the wedding venue, but for the broader fight against racial discrimination. The day of the verdict arrives, and the atmosphere in the courtroom is thick with anticipation. Reporters, activists, and members of the community pack the room, eager to hear the decision. Monica sits with her legal team, a mix of anxiety and hope visible on her face. Across the room, the venue owners appear tense, their lawyers whispering last-minute reassurances. The judge enters the courtroom, and everyone rises. The jury files in, each member holding a sealed envelope that contains their individual vote. The judge asks the foreperson to stand and read the verdict. The room falls silent as the foreperson begins to speak. As the foreperson announces the jury's decision, a wave of emotion sweeps through the courtroom. The jury finds in favor of Monica, determining that the wedding venue did, in fact, engage in discriminatory practices. The verdict includes a significant financial settlement for Monica, as well as a mandate for the venue to undergo comprehensive anti-discrimination training and implement new policies to ensure such an incident never happens again. Monica's supporters erupt in cheers, while the venue owners sit in stunned silence, realizing the gravity of the situation. The judge thanks the jury for their service and reminds everyone of the importance of fairness and justice in society. Monica's eyes well up with tears as she embraces her legal team, overwhelmed by the victory and the validation of her experience. Outside the courthouse, a crowd has gathered, and as news of the verdict spreads, the atmosphere becomes celebratory. Monica steps out to address the press, her voice strong and determined as she speaks about the significance of the case. She thanks everyone who supported her and dedicates the victory to all those who have faced discrimination but were unable to fight back. The verdict sends shockwaves through the community and beyond. It becomes a landmark case, often cited in discussions about racial discrimination and the importance of standing up for one's rights. Monica's bravery and determination inspire many others to share their own stories and seek justice. The venue, now reeling from the public backlash and the financial penalties, begins the process of rebuilding its reputation. The owners issue a public apology and commit to making significant changes in how they operate. However, the damage to their brand is significant, and they face a long road to regaining public trust. In the weeks following the verdict, Monica finds herself in a whirlwind of media attention. Her story becomes a symbol of resilience and the fight against racial injustice. Invitations to speak at events, interviews with major news outlets, and offers to collaborate on projects flood in. Despite the overwhelming attention, she remains grounded, focused on the message of equality and justice that her case represents. The financial settlement she receives from the lawsuit provides her with opportunities she never imagined. Instead of using the money for personal gain, she decides to invest it in a cause close to her heart. She establishes a foundation dedicated to fighting discrimination in all its forms, offering legal assistance, educational programs, and support to those who face similar challenges. As the foundation grows, Monica becomes a prominent advocate for civil rights, using her platform to raise awareness about systemic racism and the importance of standing up for what is right. Her foundation quickly gains recognition for its impact, helping countless individuals and communities. Meanwhile, the wedding venue struggles to recover from the fallout of the lawsuit. Despite their efforts to implement changes, the stigma of their discriminatory actions lingers. Bookings decline, and the venue is forced to downsize. Eventually, the owners decide to sell the business, marking the end of an era. However, from this ending comes a new beginning. Monica, now deeply involved in her advocacy work, learns about the sale of the venue. Seeing an opportunity to turn a symbol of discrimination into a beacon of hope, she decides to purchase the property with the funds from her foundation. Her vision is to transform the venue into a space that celebrates diversity, inclusion, and unity. Renovations begin, and the venue undergoes a complete transformation. The new space is designed to welcome all, regardless of race, religion, or background. Monica oversees every detail, ensuring that the venue reflects the values she fought so hard to defend. The reopening of the venue is marked by a grand event, attended by community leaders, civil rights activists, and those who supported Monica throughout her journey. The atmosphere is filled with hope and celebration, as the venue, once a place of exclusion, becomes a symbol of progress and change. The day of the grand reopening finally arrives, and the atmosphere is electric. Invitations have been sent out to a wide array of guests, including those who had previously been denied service at the venue, community leaders, activists, and supporters of Monica's journey. The local media is abuzz with anticipation, eager to cover the event that symbolizes a new chapter for both Monica and the venue. As the sun sets, the venue is illuminated in vibrant colors, representing unity and diversity. Guests begin to arrive, each greeted personally by Monica, who stands at the entrance with a warm smile. The air is filled with excitement and a sense of history in the making. Inside, the venue has been transformed into a space that reflects the rich tapestry of cultures and traditions that make up the community. There are exhibits showcasing the history of civil rights, art installations created by local artists of various backgrounds, and a stage set for performances that celebrate cultural diversity. Monica takes the stage to address the crowd, her voice steady but filled with emotion. She speaks about her journey, the challenges she faced, and the importance of standing up against injustice. She thanks those who supported her and shares her vision for the venue's future. Her speech is met with resounding applause, and many in the audience are moved to tears. The highlight of the evening is a symbolic ceremony where Monica, alongside representatives from different community groups, cuts a ribbon to officially reopen the venue. The crowd cheers, and the sound of music fills the air as the celebration begins in earnest. The venue's first event under its new ownership is a wedding, but not just any wedding. It's a celebration of love between two people from different racial and cultural backgrounds. The couple had been among those denied service at the venue in the past, and now they stand as a testament to the power of love and acceptance. As the night progresses, Monica takes a moment to step outside and look at the stars. She reflects on how far she has come and the journey that lies ahead. The venue, once a place of pain and rejection, has become a beacon of hope, and she knows that this is only the beginning of the impact she will make. Following the grand reopening, the media coverage of the event spreads rapidly. News outlets, both local and national, highlight the transformation of the venue and the inspiring story of Monica, who led the change. Headlines read, "From discrimination to celebration: how one woman changed the wedding industry," and "Venue once marred by racism now stands as a beacon of unity." Monica's story is shared across social media platforms, where it resonates with people around the world. Comments and messages of support pour in, with many expressing admiration for her courage and determination. The venue's new website, which prominently features its commitment to inclusivity, receives an influx of inquiries from couples eager to book their weddings and other events there. Amidst the positive reactions, Monica is invited to speak at several high-profile events and panels discussing issues of racial discrimination, social justice, and business ethics. Her story becomes a case study in business schools, demonstrating how one person's actions can bring about significant change in a community and even an entire industry. However, with the increased attention comes scrutiny. Some detractors question her motives, suggesting that she only took over the venue for personal gain or publicity. Monica remains unfazed, confident in her intentions and focused on the bigger picture. She continues to engage with the community, hosting open forums and listening sessions to ensure the venue serves as a space where everyone feels welcome. Monica's journey also sparks a broader conversation within the wedding industry. Other venues and businesses take notice, with some reaching out to her for advice on how to implement more inclusive practices. The change she initiated begins to ripple through the industry, leading to policy shifts and training programs aimed at preventing discrimination. As the media attention continues, Monica is approached by a publisher interested in turning her story into a book. Initially hesitant, she eventually agrees, seeing it as another opportunity to inspire others and advocate for social justice. The book, once published, becomes a bestseller, further cementing her status as a role model and change-maker. Despite the whirlwind of media attention and new opportunities, Monica stays grounded, dedicating herself to ensuring that the venue remains a place of love, acceptance, and celebration. She knows that the fight against discrimination is ongoing, and she is determined to keep pushing forward. As the media coverage and the public response to Monica's transformation of the venue grow, word inevitably reaches the original owner of the wedding venue. The man, who once dismissed Monica and her fiancé, finds himself at the center of the controversy. His name is mentioned in news stories that detail the discriminatory incident that led to the venue's overhaul. At first, the former owner is outraged. He never imagined that his actions would come back to haunt him so publicly. Friends and acquaintances begin to distance themselves, and he faces backlash from the local community, many of whom were unaware of his actions until now. His once thriving business ventures start to suffer as more people learn about his discriminatory behavior. Unable to escape the negative press, the man attempts to defend his actions in a public statement, claiming that his refusal to accommodate Monica was based on business policies rather than racism. However, his words only fuel the fire, and the public sees through his weak excuses. The backlash intensifies, with many calling for boycotts of his remaining businesses. In contrast, Monica's actions are celebrated even more as the public becomes aware of the extent of the challenges she faced. Her calm and determined response to the injustice highlights the former owner's pettiness and bigotry. The media coverage shifts focus to a comparison between the two, the narrow-mindedness of the former owner versus the inclusive vision of Monica, who turned a negative experience into a positive force for change. Faced with mounting pressure and the collapse of his reputation, the former owner eventually goes silent. He steps down from his remaining business ventures and retreats from the public eye. The venue that once represented his prejudice now stands as a powerful symbol of unity and inclusion, thanks to Monica, who refused to let discrimination dictate her fate. The big day finally arrives. The once discriminated woman and her fiancé stand hand in hand at the entrance of the venue, now transformed into a symbol of resilience, love, and acceptance. The atmosphere is electric, filled with excitement and emotion, as guests from all walks of life gather to celebrate not just the union of two people, but the triumph over adversity. The venue is unrecognizable from its past. Every corner reflects Monica's vision, diverse, welcoming, and beautiful. The guests are moved by the transformation and the story behind it, knowing that they are part of something much bigger than just a wedding. Many guests, including some who were initially unaware of the discrimination, are inspired by Monica's journey and her unwavering commitment to turning a painful experience into something positive. As the ceremony begins, Monica and her fiancé exchange vows, their words filled with the weight of the journey they've undertaken together. There are tears, laughter, and a deep sense of shared purpose among everyone present. The officiant, who is aware of the couple's story, speaks not just of love, but of the power of resilience, and the importance of standing up against injustice. When the couple is pronounced married, the crowd erupts in cheers and applause, but there's also a deeper, almost reverent silence that follows, a recognition of the significance of this moment. As the couple walks down the aisle, they are showered not just with flower petals, but with admiration and respect. They have not only built a life together, but they've also built a legacy. The reception that follows is a joyful celebration of love and community. Monica and her husband move from table to table, greeting guests and sharing moments of gratitude. Many of the guests take the opportunity to thank Monica personally for her bravery and for inspiring them to stand up against discrimination in their own lives. The night is filled with dancing, heartfelt speeches, and a profound sense of unity. As the evening winds down, the couple takes a moment alone to reflect on everything that has happened. Standing on the balcony, overlooking the venue that they've made their own, they hold each other close, knowing that they have created something truly special, a day that will be remembered not just for its beauty, but for the powerful statement it made. In the days and weeks that follow, the story of Monica's wedding continues to spread. News outlets, social media, and word of mouth carry the tale far and wide, and it becomes an inspiration for many who face similar struggles. Monica's story is a reminder that with courage and determination, it is possible to transform even the most painful experiences into something beautiful and meaningful.